In the beginning, the earth was a beautiful place, filled with mountains, rivers, valleys, and all kinds of creatures. Trees stretched toward the heavens, rivers ran clear, and birds filled the skies with their songs. But as the years passed and mankind grew in number, something shifted. Beauty was slowly swallowed by darkness. The sons and daughters of Adam spread across the earth. They built cities, made music, worked with metal, and farmed the land. But along with progress came pride. The hearts of men grew proud, greedy, and violent. They forgot their creator. They worshipped idols made from stone and wood. They took what they wanted, killed without mercy, and laughed at righteousness. People no longer lived in peace. Cities were filled with noise, shouting, and fighting. The strong ruled over the weak. The powerful became more cruel. Evil spread like a sickness. Men made fun of honesty and rewarded corruption. Women and children cried in the streets. No one cared. The world had become a place of pain. Heaven watched. God saw it all. He looked at the hearts of men and saw that every thought was evil, day and night. His heart was broken, and so in the silence of eternity, God spoke, "My spirit will not stay with man forever. I will give them 120 years. Then I will send judgment. I will wipe from the earth every living thing I have made." But there was one man who walked a different path. His name was Noah. He lived in the land of Ararat with his wife and 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. While the world rushed toward darkness, Noah slowed down. While others cursed, he prayed. While others cheated, he worked honestly. He was not perfect, but he feared God. He listened. He obeyed. Noah taught his sons to honor truth. He protected his wife. He built his home with peace and love. People mocked him for being different, but Noah did not change. His eyes were fixed on things beyond this world. One evening, as the sun dipped low over the hills and shadows stretched across the fields, Noah stood outside his tent. The wind was still. Then came a voice, not thunder, not a whisper, but something deeper, something that shook the soul. "Noah," God said. Noah fell to his knees. "I have seen the evil of this world. It is filled with violence and sin. I will destroy it with water, great waters that will rise over the mountains. But you have found favor with me. I will save you and your family. Build an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it, and cover it inside and out with pitch. It must be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Bring into the ark 2 of every kind of animal, male and female, and gather food for them and for your family." The words sank deep into Noah's heart. A flood? Rain covering the mountains? Such a thing had never been seen before. But Noah did not argue. He did not delay. He stood up, looked at the sky, and said, "Yes, Lord." The next day, Noah began to build. He chose strong trees, cut them down, and shaped them one by one. He worked from dawn to dusk. His sons helped him, carrying wood, hammering nails, and lifting heavy beams. His wife and daughters-in-law prepared food and dried fruits, storing them in clay jars. But while the family worked, the people laughed. They came from nearby towns just to watch the strange man building a giant boat on dry land. Children threw stones. Men shouted insults. Some called him mad. Others laughed. "Where is this flood you speak of, old man? The skies are clear. You've lost your mind." But Noah kept building, and the days became weeks. The weeks became months. The months turned into years. Every tree he chopped, every plank he laid, every nail he drove, it was all done by faith. God waited, not because he was weak, but because he was merciful. He gave people time to turn back, time to repent, but no one listened, no one changed, and so the countdown continued. The earth groaned, the sky dimmed, and somewhere deep below the soil, the fountains of the great deep were stirring. Noah wiped sweat from his brow. The frame of the ark towered above him. The animals would come soon. But even now, he looked around and saw only mocking eyes. Still, he prayed. Still, he believed. And in the courts of heaven, the time of mercy was drawing to a close. From the moment God spoke, Noah's life changed forever. He could not forget the voice so deep, so real, more powerful than thunder, yet more gentle than wind. It echoed in his heart every day as he worked. The instructions had been clear. Build an ark, save your family, and gather animals of every kind. This would be God's rescue plan, but it would also be the sign of judgment. Noah woke early each morning and prayed as the sun rose behind the hills. The land around him was dry, peaceful, and unaware. His sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth looked to their father with quiet respect. They did not fully understand all that was coming, but they obeyed. Their faith was tied to their father's faith. Noah's neighbors continued their lives without care. They drank, they celebrated, they traded goods, and they built altars to false gods. When they passed Noah's land and saw the growing wooden structure, their laughter rose high. "Noah, where's the sea?" they joked. "He's building a coffin for the world," others mocked. But Noah did not answer with anger. His heart ached for them. He had once lived among them. He had shared meals, attended weddings, worked in their towns. Now he stood apart, not because he was proud, but because he listened. He spoke when they asked. "A flood is coming," he would say. "God is sending water to cover the earth. Turn from your wicked ways, seek mercy." But their laughter only grew louder. The ark began to take shape. Thick beams of wood formed the long body of the vessel. Its design was unlike anything ever seen. The ark was huge, longer than many buildings, taller than any house. It had 3 levels, many rooms, and one single door. Noah carved each plank with care. The pitch sealed the wood inside and out. His sons brought water, food, and baskets of tools. Every nail, every joint was done with reverence. Each blow of the hammer was an act of worship. God continued to guide Noah. "Bring into the ark 2 of every kind of bird, every kind of animal, and every creeping thing, male and female. Keep them alive." The task was too great for human strength alone, but Noah believed that God would help. One night, as twilight painted the skies in shades of purple and gold, strange sounds echoed through the hills. Birds filled the trees, silent and still. Deer stepped into the clearing and did not run. Foxes, bears, oxen, animals of all kinds came walking in pairs. Their eyes were calm, their pace was steady. The people nearby saw it too. For a moment they stopped laughing. They pointed and whispered, "Why are the animals going there? What is this?" Still, they did not repent. They explained it away. Some blamed the stars, others said it was sorcery, but none turned to God. Noah opened the doors of the ark. His sons guided the creatures to their places. The air was filled with the sounds of rustling wings, hooves, growls, and chirps. Cages were set, straw was laid down, water troughs filled. The ark, once silent, was now alive. Days passed, the skies grew darker, the wind grew stronger. Noah's family moved inside the ark, carrying baskets of dried figs, grains, and clay jars filled with fresh water. Then God spoke one last time, "Go into the ark, you and your whole family. I have seen you as righteous in this generation. In 7 days I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. I will wipe from the face of the land every living thing I have made." Noah's heart was heavy but firm. He walked to the edge of his land one last time. The valley was quiet, the towns were still busy. Children played, music played in the distance. Life went on without knowing it was about to end. Then Noah turned. He entered the ark. His wife followed. Shem, Ham, and Japheth stepped in. Their wives walked behind them. When the last foot crossed the threshold, a great stillness fell. Then the hand of the Lord closed the door. It was not Noah who shut it. It was God, and that door would not open again until the flood had done its work. Inside the ark, the oil lamps flickered. The air was thick with the smell of hay and animals. Outside, the skies rumbled. A single drop of rain fell, then another. Then the skies broke open. But that story belonged to the next day. For now, Noah and his family sat in silence, surrounded by animals, wrapped in darkness, and held by the hand of the Lord. They had obeyed, and God was with them. The rain came with fury. For 40 days and 40 nights, the heavens poured their sorrow upon the earth. It was no gentle storm. It was as if the sky itself had shattered and fallen. Great bolts of lightning split the dark, boiling clouds. Thunder shook the mountains. Rivers once calm roared like beasts. The land that once bore crops and cattle was now swallowed by water. Inside the ark, Noah and his family sat in silence. Now there was only the endless sound of rain beating against the roof and waves crashing against the wooden walls. The ark creaked and groaned, yet it held strong. God's design did not fail. The animals stirred. Some slept, others cried in confusion. The family worked in shifts, feeding them, calming them, keeping the oil lamps burning. There was no night or day, only gray. On the 5th day, the ark lurched hard to one side. A wave had struck it like a fist. Crates tumbled, jars cracked. Noah fell but rose again quickly. He touched the wall, prayed under his breath and whispered, "Hold us, Lord." And God did. As the days passed, the ark floated higher and higher. Mountains were swallowed, forests disappeared beneath muddy waters. No creature outside the ark survived. The world was now a sea. Noah sometimes walked the length of the ark, touching the walls, listening. The cries of the animals reminded him of the cost. The silence outside reminded him of the judgment. And yet, deep in his heart, he still felt peace. Not the peace of calm, but the peace of obedience. One night, as Japheth was keeping watch, he called his father to the top deck. "Father, look." Noah stepped out into the rain. Far in the distance, a mountaintop had appeared. Bare and broken, it peaked above the waterline like a dying breath. Days later, the ark struck land. It didn't crash. It rested. Mount Ararat stood firm beneath the great vessel. The rain had stopped. The winds blew in long, tired sighs. The sky, once black with rage, began to soften. Clouds pulled back like curtains. For the first time in months, the sun broke through. The ark was still. Noah fell to his knees and wept. But they did not leave the ark just yet. The ground below was still wet, soft, and unready. Noah waited. Days passed. Then he sent out a raven. It flew, and never returned. Then he sent out a dove. It came back with nothing. A week later, he sent it again. This time, it returned with an olive leaf in its beak. New life had begun. Noah's eyes filled with tears. He waited another week, then sent the dove again. This time, it did not return. The earth was ready. Then, after 1 full year since the first drop of rain, God spoke again. "Come out of the ark, you and your family, and all the animals. Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the earth." Noah opened the door. Sunlight streamed in. The ground, though changed, was dry. Trees had begun to grow. Grass reached for the sky. Birds flew freely. The air was clean, reborn. The animals rushed out, one pair after another. They filled the land with motion and life. Noah and his family stood outside the ark, staring at a quiet, empty world. Then Noah did what he had always done. He built an altar. He placed stones upon each other and made a sacrifice to God. Smoke rose into the sky. The scent of obedience filled the air. God smiled upon Noah. Never again would he curse the ground because of man, even though man's heart was still flawed. Never again would a flood destroy the earth. Then God made a covenant. He placed a rainbow in the sky, a brilliant arc of color, stretching from one end of heaven to the other. "This is my sign," God said, "between me and all living things. When I bring clouds over the earth, the rainbow will appear, and I will remember my promise." The rainbow burned in the sky like a divine bridge. The family stood together, arms around each other, watching in silence. The world was new, and Noah, the man of obedience, had become a father to that new beginning. The sons began clearing the land. Shem built the first shelter with thick wooden logs. Ham gathered stones for walls and cooking pits. Japheth shaped tools from iron and stone. The women planted seeds and dried food in the sun. It was hard work, but it was full of purpose. As the seasons changed, animals began to roam further. The sky was filled with birds again. Deer and goats grazed in green valleys. Lions roared from distant hills. The cycle of life had begun anew, but the memory of the flood never left them. Each time thunder rumbled in the sky, they paused. Each time rain began to fall, Noah's eyes turned upward. Yet with every passing storm that faded without destruction, their hearts grew lighter. God had promised, and God kept his promises. One evening, as the family gathered around a fire, Noah told his grandchildren the story of the flood. He spoke of the people who refused to listen, of the animals who came in pairs, of the long days at sea. The children listened with wide eyes, clutching their knees. "Will it happen again?" one of them asked. Noah smiled gently. "No, God gave us a sign." He pointed to the sky. A rainbow still lingered above the clouds, soft and glowing. "That is his promise. The world will never be destroyed by water again." The children nodded. They did not understand everything, but they believed. As the family grew, so did the land around them. Trees grew taller, fields stretched wide, fruit ripened on vines. The earth was not the same as before, but it was good. Years passed. Noah aged slowly, but the fire in his eyes remained. He continued to walk with God. He taught his sons to lead with humility. He taught his grandchildren to listen, to obey, and to honor the one who made them. One day, he stood alone on a high hill, looking out over the valley his family now called home. He could see their homes, their herds, their harvest. He saw the fruit of obedience. Tears filled his eyes, not of sadness, but of peace. He remembered the world that was, and he blessed the world that now is.